Smoking, but when they hear this song, they'll learn there's more to toking. 25,000 different things we can make from it, and if we give it a chance, we'll save the blinking planet. Food, fuel and medicine, necessities for life, a benefit to all of us, our wonder and delight. Within this smelly weed, there's more than meets the eye, so much, much more than smoking, it can cleanse our dirty skies. Cannabis, cannabis will save the planet with cannabis. Cannabis, cannabis is a very useful weed. Cannabis, cannabis will save the planet with cannabis. Cannabis, cannabis is very good indeed.
We're live, we're loud, and we're proud, and it's time for hemp, and hemp works. And where do we start? Listen, hi folks. We have had since last Thursday, since I spoke to you last, since last Thursday, it's been absolutely, totally amazing. We started off down at the United Patients Alliance meeting on Thursday evening in Brighton, where Professor Nutt, Keiron, Reeves, Clark, French, and a host of others, Mike Cutler, all gave a stunning talk on the benefits of medical cannabis. Professor Nutt, I've got to tell you, we actually recorded it. I hope he lets us use it. Professor Nutt's lecture, talk, conversation on this subject was absolutely stunning. Thank you, Dr. Professor Nutt. Yeah, well, that was a success. That's led on to all sorts of news media. Newspapers have been very interested in now about what we know that this cannabis medicine can do. Me and the team, the Hemp Works Charity UK.org, and myself went down to Rawfest. Oh my God, what a beautiful time we had down there. We was down there Friday, Saturday and Sunday. The organisers of Rawfest, they done an amazing thing. They actually had the original site taken away from 24 hours before their little mini fest. They found another site. It was absolutely amazing. They set it up. They got us all on there. And all I can say is I've never had so much fun sitting in a muddy field with portaloos that don't work, eating raw carrots. It was absolutely fabulous. Far too many names to mention. Sky, Graham, a young lady who played the most magnificent solo set. She was a babe. I wouldn't have thought she was more than about 17, 18. But my God, so impressive. And all the other artists that were there. And it was just amazing to be in a field full of people who were not just looking after their health in the sense of food, they're looking after their health in the sense of doing some sensible exercises and motivating themselves. And we gave 3 talks there, or possibly 4, and every one of them was packed, and every one of them, the audience participation was absolutely amazing. It is time for hemp. People want this medicine. People know about this medicine. It is time now that this medicine, it must be released. I've got my partner on the line, Pierre. He's sitting out in the garden. He's been with me for about the last 4 or 5 days. What do you make of the last couple of days, Pierre?
Absolutely stupendous.
Yeah.
The weather's been absolutely glorious as well. Just everything fits. I have to say, well done to the United Patients Alliance for having such a marvellous turnout. I think it was over 200 people there in that meeting. Absolutely stunning. There were some stories that were coming through with one young lady called Ella. What an unbelievable story hers was. Not as well known, obviously, as Mike Cutler's, but absolutely awesome how she'd found out about the Rick Simpson oil, and on the basis of that, because her mother's cancer was just so far gone, it was a case of almost anything at this stage. And she rustled up £2,500 amongst her family and friends so that she could go out, buy what she needed to buy so that she could actually make the oil. and her mum's been cancer free now for 3 weeks. It's just, this is hot news, and it's absolutely bloody brilliant.
Yeah, what was remarkable, what I love, one was her energy, Pierre, of giving her mum's story. It was such a good. She really felt it, didn't she? And then I got to speak to her after the show, and I was saying about the oil, and she really didn't know anything about it. She literally, look, this is somebody who just went on the internet, saw the protocol of Rick Simpson, went out, found some people that could get her some stock, and basically she said she'd done it in her garden with all the neighbours looking, wondering what the fuck she was up to, and they was just as amazed that it worked as everybody else was, because the mum was dying. They didn't. She told me they didn't think it would work. They just thought they'd give it a go. Like, it's just wherever you go now. We had people at Raw Fest that were either trying it or knew somebody. We had a guy down there that turned up with all these horrible lesions on his skin, very similar to that guy that's in court at the moment, and they're trying to put him in prison, and they won't let him say that he used cannabis as a medicine. It's that guy. I can't remember what state he's in. I think maybe Texas or somewhere. But anyway, Iowa. Yeah. He's pretty out there. He had the same lesions as him. And we put we had a little bit of with us, right? A bit of my own medicine that I carry with me. And I put some on one of his lesions. And honestly, within 2 hours, it actually started to regenerate. It was absolutely amazing. I mean, this stuff works. Why are we holding back on it? You got all the canna mums. They know it works. All the kids are being ill. Last week, 2 kids died because they couldn't get hold of it. It's pointless trying to stop this. The cat's out of the bag. It's just the politics, isn't it? Like, it's just politics. We can't let this carry on no more.
I mean, one of the things that, for me, that came out of Ella's speech is because she came from somebody who knew nothing about the oil other than what she saw in a video. She made an oil that has successfully healed her mum. It goes to show it's not rocket science. You do not need a big pharmaceutical company to make this. So that's the first thing that really came home beautifully. The other thing which the United Patients Alliance made absolutely crystal clear with it was Professor David Nutt, and he said it's again within the power of the Home Secretary. All she has to do is change the box that she ticks, and if she moves it down to C from B, it has medical use, and then all of a sudden there will be hundreds of thousands of people in this country instantly having a big sigh of relief because their life will get better.
Yeah, can we bring up that a little bit more? Just to make it completely clear for the UK audience. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but the Home Secretary, whoever that happens to be, which is Theresa May at the moment, there was part of one of the drugs law that was passed back in the 70s. I believe it was the 1971. And that was based on something called the Wootton Report. They gave them a paragraph in there that the Home Secretary has the right to reclassify cannabis at any time they want, especially if there's any new scientific research that comes out or for any reason that they feel it needs to be reclassified. They did it once before, around about 1998. They reclassified, and for a while, cannabis in this country was a Class B, which means the police didn't really want to worry about it. That was mainly to do with 2 reasons. One was the chief of police at the time, Brian Paddock. He was fed up arresting people in South London for cannabis when he had, as he pointed out, real crime, rape, murder, gang warfare, clubs turning out. He had real things to deal with rather than a few people with a bit of puff. And the other thing was a company called GW Pharmaceuticals needed to get the research license so that they could study cannabis medicine. So they changed the law overnight. They've done a reclassification. Home Secretary done it. She doesn't have to go in front of Parliament, or she doesn't have to go to see the Queen. I don't think she even has to go and see the Prime Minister. It was actually given the right to the Home Secretary. So tonight, Theresa May, before she goes home from work, I don't know what time it's 7 o'clock, I don't know what time she works to, but before she went home from work tonight, she could have literally just signed a bit of paper, and tomorrow thousands of us in the UK would have not been criminals anymore, and we could have got on with making some oil and start healing some other people, because it does work, right? Yeah, like as my lovely Pierre was saying, that girl made it in her back garden. If that was tested, it most probably wouldn't be the best oil in the world. But nevertheless, somebody making it in her back garden, think about it, in London. has brought some weed off the street, basically, brought a pot, brought an eater, thrown it all together, and the medical trade with all these millions and billions and thousands and all the research and the 600 million that cancer research took last year, for she's cured it in her back garden. You know,
Yeah.
like,
For £2,500.
for $2.5 grand. So if she
And
can
this
do,
was,
and I done
and
it,
this
I
is,
done pretty much the same. I know Mike Cutler. I might talk about Mike now because he's in the newspaper today. He done pretty much the same thing.
mm,
You know, I would prefer my medicine to be made in a nice tiled room with somebody that most probably actually knows what they're doing, and I would like to see a report on it before it was handed out to anybody to stop any charlatans getting through. But at the end
right.
of the day, politics the way they are in this country, this is how we're having to operate. Yeah, underground. And I know people have been ripped off. I mean, there was some story today about some geezer who's making out he's Rick Simpson's fucking son, who's offered to sell £40,000 worth of this Rick Simpson oil to him on Victoria Station in London, which is a complete rip-off. The geezer's going to turn up with a jar of Marmite. He's not even Rick Simpson's son, you know? And because when you're desperate and when you're dying, you're going to go for treatments like that. And that's down to the law. Because as soon as the law changes the politics of it, then we can move on with the legality of it. So the government, as far as I can see, they're acting totally illegal. They're making criminals make money out of sick people. They're denying sick people medicine who can get better. They're making people suffer like MS people and Parkinson people. They use it, they take it, they don't feel no pain. It's just madness, this law. What do they hope to profit by keeping this law in place? Who is it out there that really don't want it? Is it the general public? Well, from my experience this weekend, no, the general public are up for it. We even had a lady at this show, there's a geezer with a brain tumour, right? He's in such a state, he can't grow, he don't know where to get it, and there was a lady standing behind him listening to his story, and she said, I'll grow it for him. That's the general public. She didn't even know anything about cannabis. She just heard somebody was in trouble that needed to grow some plants. I told her it's illegal. She said, well, I don't care. He's ill. That's what humans do. We help each other. So what kind of politicians help us? I don't know. What do you make of it?
Well, I have to say, my jaw dropped when that lady said that because she was a lady of a certain age, I have to say, and so maybe she thinks, well, if I'm going to do something really truly decent with the end of my days, I will.
Yeah. That's what she said,
but I have to say, she looks like she'd got plenty of years left in her because she was a vibrant lady, and so I'm absolutely I was gobsmacked. I'll be quite honest with you. And so much love. I mean, that's the other thing we have to say about Rawfest. You know, I have been to bigger festivals. I have been to festivals where there was amplified music. That wasn't allowed here was the farmer. But what a field of love. The people there were just quality human beings. And they get it. And they get this. They're not seeing this with any fear at all. You know, there's no taboo for them. And, you know, none of them are naturally drawn to the plant, if you know what I mean.
Oh, should we have a break now? What do you reckon?
Yeah.
No, we go on till 23. No, we've got another 5 minutes left. I'm sorry, I'm completely timeless. I've been without a watch for about 2 years.
So okay.
Charity, yeah, come on, let's have a bit of the charity news. What's the charity you've been up to? I mean, was there a good response at Rawfest for the charity? I know my talk went down well.
Magnificent. I mean, it was a case of 8 months ago, I didn't even know that I would even be doing anything like this. But when it became obvious that what happened to you needed to be shared with other people and the solution needs to be shared, I kind of in my mind envisaged just how often I would have to take the onslaught of somebody laying into me about drugs in general or cannabis for whatever reason. And I have just been shocked by how, first of all, at VegFest in Brighton, then in Bristol, and now this, it just seems to be getting easier and easier all the time. We are finding that people already know that it has medical. What they want to know is, how do you make it? What's the do's and don'ts? And they also want to know, what else it can do. What are all the illnesses that it can, and who do we know who's got what illness and things like that. The government has already lost the minds of the most intelligent and informed people who are interested in nutrition. So it's really important that the government should start thinking that rather than make themselves look fools and take us for idiots, I think it's time that they sat up and noticed, okay, we had better change the plan and start saying about how we can let these people have the medicine that they're asking for.
Yeah. Because again, it's like, the government right at the moment is having all sorts of problems, isn't it? I mean, they got financial problems. They got problems with all this paedophilia thing going on with them, all these accusations about. They got problems, there's questions over this fracking, there's questions over air pollution, water pollution, there's questions over the food, the way the food is being manufactured. They got obesity problems going on, vaccination problems going on. This don't have to be a problem. They're making this a problem. Yeah? Some of them other things are real things like fracking and running out of gas, long-term problems for the UK. But releasing a bit of herb, a bit of a plant life, so that people can get on with it, is like, as if for a stroke of a pen, they could do themselves a lot of favours at the moment, couldn't they?
Yes, I mean, one of the things that's becoming really clear is that, this actually isn't one that would come back and bite them, because the last scare that they put out about cannabis was that it had there was the link to psychosis. And as Professor David Nutt said, since the 70s, cannabis smoking has increased 20-fold. If there had been any kind of percentage correlation between the plant and that particular psychosis, or any psychosis, then you would expect that to go up in the society. And in fact, over the same period, psychosis, if anything, has gone down.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, all those graphs that Professor Nutt put up, they were all amazing, weren't they? That one on alcohol. I mean, I really dislike comparing this whole cannabis to alcohol situation. But there was one graph he put up there. What was that one on, Pierre? That was on alcohol driving or alcohol abuse?
Well, what they did is that they the graph was scaled. So if you can take the intoxication by cannabis to the point so that your driving motor skills have been halved, in other words, you'd be twice as likely to have an accident, then in terms of equivalence, alcohol would make you 8 times as likely to have an accident, and the combination of alcohol and cannabis together would be somewhere around 30.
Yeah.
I
think what got me on his graphs as well, wherever you saw the graphs, that the alcohol one was sort of always so near the top, and then the cannabis one was somewhere virtually off the other end of the scale as non-existent. Yeah.
And
real slope, wasn't there?
Well, he put up a slide, one of which showed that right on the left-hand end, alcohol was
I'll tell you what, hold that thought there, and we take a break now. We come back, because that was good, that slide, wasn't it, on the brain thing?
Yeah.
Right, hit the button, please, Casper. Let's play.
You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.
THC THCF Medical Clinics are the premier physicians clinic in the United States. THCF has offices all across the United States from Hawaii to Michigan. THCF Medical Clinics has helped approximately 150,000 patients obtain their medical marijuana permits to legally possess, grow, and use medical marijuana. If you have chronic pain, multiple sclerosis, or any other neurological degenerative disease, or if you have any gastrointestinal disorders such as GERD, irritable bowel syndrome, or if you have AIDS, cancer, spastic disorders, seizure disorders, or glaucoma, call us at 1-800-723-0188 or visit us online at hemp.org. Again, the number is 1-800-723-0188 and the site is hemp.org.
In need of a ganja vacation? Blaze away.
Don't criticize it.
Hotbox Jamaica. Chill.
Legalize it, yeah.
Relax and burn all day while watching the amazing ocean view. Listen to the birds. Bathe in the mineral waters of the Ganja River. Munch on tasty Jamaican Rasta food. Take a weed farm tour and hold a meditation. Book this amazing vacation for $420. Get the Sativa Special. 7 nights in Sativa dorms with ganja meals and airport transfer. Check us out at hotboxjamaica.com. That's hotboxjamaica.com. Hotbox Jamaica, a higher meditation vacation.
Indigrow is your source for affordable induction grow lighting. First discovered in 1891 by Nikola Tesla, Indigrow lights deliver 11 years of electronic sunlight to your plants. Indigrow lamps require less than half the power of traditional HID lamps. Converting to Indigrow lights means you'll cut down on your power bill with less lighting. Indigrow lamps also use 5 times less mercury than traditional fluorescent or HID lamps, making Indigrow not only energy efficient but environmentally friendly as well. No more switching out lamps between vegetative and flowering stages. As nature intended, your lights get a steady dose of UV light. That makes your plants grow healthier and stronger. Indigrow products are manufactured in San Diego, California, and come with a written 10-year warranty. What Tesla knew, then growers know now, is that Indigrow lighting is the cost-effective addition to your victory garden. To learn more or order now, go to inda-grow.com. That's INDA-GRO.com. Or call 877-452-2244 to answer any of your questions. These guys really know lights. Indigrow really is your sunlight in a box.
Education and information. See what all the buzz is all about. It's time for hemp. It's time for hemp.
Cannabis will save the planet with cannabis. Cannabis, cannabis is very good indeed. A miracle to life. Say goodbye to trouble and strife.
Right, where was we? Saving the Planet with Cannabis and Professor Nut. And that X-ray, that scan he showed of the brain with the damage done by alcohol.
Yes, but
I've never seen that before. That poor brain was eaten away, wasn't it? Alcohol.
well, yes. I mean, from the centre, it was almost like hollowed out the way like a tree dies. The thing that was really even more shocking is that above it, he had some severe Alzheimer's brains by comparison, and the Alzheimer's brains compared to the alcoholic's brains were relatively they looked better.
Yeah.
And that was shocking. And the other thing was that he basically explained that the biggest single killer of men in the UK under the age of 50, all alcohol-based events.
Yeah, innit? The record on alcohol gets more and more depressive by the day, doesn't it? No? And how it's
I mean,
impregnated our society. That's the real drug. Yeah.
well, obviously, the problem that we've got is it's like the same thing with petrol. The government gets so much money every single day out of the tax income that they get on oil, petrols, and diesel, and also cigarettes, and also alcohol. And the problem that they've got is they haven't got the wit, the wisdom, the vision, or the understanding, and they don't think they've got the backing of the public to come up with some other way of making the books balance. Because that's the problem. You know, what do we do? How do we
And really
pay
what
for
you're
things?
saying is we're running the economy on dealing in death, aren't we? We're dealing in death cigarettes, death
Yep.
endo, carbon-based fuel,
Yep.
because that is a death-based fuel, yeah, or even by its emissions and it does. The medicine they're dealing is just kills you and don't make you better. So they're running the whole thing on death camp. They're selling
It actually bad. Yeah, I mean, if you were an alien coming down to this planet now, and you looked, you'd say, "Oh, that's interesting. Everything that can kill an individual, or in fact damage the species as a whole by damaging their environment, they tax that. The one plant that seems to heal them is really cheap and easy to make and use. That one they've made illegal.
they ban
How
it.
does that work?"
Exactly. Now that you put it like that, how does that work? The only thing that can save our freaking souls is the thing that's illegal. And as species, I believe we're a species coming near to end time unless we have an evolution of consciousness inside of the species, which is the human species. I think we're going to be resigned to fossils. Because you can't
Well,
deal with that.
I mean, I'm a perennial optimist, but I have to say, if the current wisdom that it remains the way it is for another 100 years, I think we're probably screwed.
Yeah. And
I
I
think,
reckon 100 years is like the long bet.
oh God, it really is. I mean, we
Yeah.
need to be
I
making so
think
many
you've got to be a
changes
rather good
before.
optimist to give it 100 years, but I'll go with that. But even that puts my grandchild at 300. So my great grandchild, I wouldn't be able to see my great grandchildren if I could live that long. Then they wouldn't. My great grandchildren, there won't be a planet, will there? That's possibly 3 generations then max.
Well, by then there'll certainly be some pretty big changes taking place, and not many of them good.
Well, not the way we're going on.
No. I
No.
mean, we don't tackle the whole, the problem of global population. We haven't really started thinking of the planet as a spaceship. We haven't really.
I'll just bring you back to cancer then. With cancer rates running at 1 in 3, and conventional medicine not having a particularly good cure rate on that. Yeah, 1 in 3 over the next 10 years, very small. That's going to wipe out a lot. Hey, let alone all the other problems and diseases we got.
Well, it's hard to work out. I mean, first of all, we have to have a place to live. If we can't get an understanding, in that at the moment the government is now more and more being seen, I have to say, by people as not being for the people but for the corporations. And that seems to be an overarching conversation which just keeps on coming up now. It's getting to the point where I'm not going to talk in terms of revolution, because anything that happens by spilled blood rarely is worthy. But there is an evolution taking place, and there'll come a point where the people will just say, we don't actually believe in this kind of democracy anymore.
But that's what I felt with Rawfest. I mean, I know Rawfest might be, it's not definitely the mainstream. But I remember going to Raw Fest things years ago, and they had a few people, and there was a good turnout there. And it was from all walks of life, wasn't it? It wasn't just sort of like the veg heads or the radical vegans. There was a really good cross section of the British public there, from all different ages, different backgrounds, different ethnic minority, not minorities, but different ethnic. So.
And people from plenty of different countries.
Most of them people were just like, "Oh, the government, fuck them." You know, no matter what you tell them, they don't get it right. And it seems to be that people are looking for a new way of governing themselves, if you like.
Yeah. Let's just get one thing clear, though. I have to say, the people at Rawfest are not in any way militant, in the least. These people are. Many have come to Rawfest. Many seem to have a common story, which is that at some point, eating conventional food as it was made them ill, and they then had to really learn about the digestive system and what the body needs, and that they've come to Rawfest because there they can absolutely get this fantastic, the best information to help them. So they're not people who would go around bad mouthing the government or any particular thing. But when you raise the subject, it's amazing how they've already thought about it, considered it, and they can see exactly where things are.
Yeah, it was really nice. Most of I suppose, just nice people, but the sort of general public, in a sense, they were all experts in their own field. They all knew about their own nutrition, or they were looking into their own nutrition, or they were there to find out about their own nutrition. Mm-hmm. So there were so many informed. In fact, everybody on that site, in one way or another, was informed, wasn't they?
Oh, totally. Really bright people. So many jewels in society. These are the people that in their own communities are the people who other people turn to for advice, for information, and because they're just so warm, so human, so real, and so trusted.
Yeah. And they all wanted medical cannabis.
Well, no, you can't say that way. But they all totally understood why there was a need for it out there, and why they themselves might consider, as soon as they've got someone in.
We were talking about a lot of the other therapies out there as well, just to say that cannabis is not the only cure. It's my favourite, and it's certainly the one that I feel works best. But there, Gerson therapies and all these other amazing therapies. Anybody that's got to go down this cancer chemo road, please go and take a look at some of the other stuff out there, because it's all good, isn't it? And a lot of it works. Yeah. The chemo is not the only treatment, and in fact, it looks like chemo is the least effective treatment. Yeah.
I think we should mention the Herceptin responsive ones, though. If you are lucky enough to have a Herceptin responsive cancer, then they have got Herceptin, which is of all of theirs the best one, and we have to at least pay some due care and notice of that.
Yeah. But yeah, this is it, wasn't it? It just, again, it was people going, well, if I wanted to take it, I want to be able to they want to try it and be legal to try it if they so wanted to. That came across quite strongly, didn't it? That people were really upset that it was actually illegal. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Most of them were under an impression that because they'd heard of people back about 10 years ago where they got raided and because they were ill, they basically let them off if they had less than a certain number of plants. Well, in 2005, Lord Bingham decided to become two-faced because he went against what he'd previously said about medical cannabis, and he passed a ruling whereby cannabis could not be used as an excuse for your own personal treatment. You could for crack cocaine or any form of the heroin, morphine or whatever, but not cannabis. Why was it
you can go in court and argue with the court that you use street heroin because of a medical condition. You can even get away with that with cocaine, but you can't get away with it with cannabis. If I went in court now, I'm not allowed, as my defence, to say that I was using it medically. Yeah. that wouldn't be part of my defence. The judge couldn't take that as part of my defence. He couldn't give me any time or compassion off for my offence. And my offence would be of growing a common plant, common to England, in common land or private land, and using that for my medicine. I would be guilty of a charge. Yeah? And he would have to take that because Lord Bingham has told all the judges that they must prosecute. Now they must convict, which is pretty ridiculous.
How does this work? I mean, it almost looks as though the government is hell-bent on putting a stick inside a hornet's nest. It's almost like, okay, well, if it works, this is going to rattle so many people that we'll soon hear about it. And guess what? That's what we're doing.
Well, let's go on the positive note then. Let's hope that the government is just ill-informed, and when we inform them properly, like through what the Patients Alliance is doing and what the Hemp Works UK charity is doing, and all the other people out there that are showing this for what it is, and the patients standing up and saying it cured me, then maybe when the government has all this information from all the universities in the UK that they've been researching over the years, maybe they'll look at all this research and come to the same decision as us, that cannabis is medicine, and medicine that works, that's innovative, non-addictive, short-term and long-term, and has many, many, many medical benefits. And I'm sure we're going to find out more things that it helps with. Yeah, we're on a voyage of discovery. Yeah, but at the moment they've got to release it because it's just ridiculous that the police have got to come and capture me. They've got to waste time prosecuting me. That's got to go through a court system. Yeah, which is going to cause untold stress for everybody. Yeah, you know, it's not just me. It will cause all sorts of stress, the knock-on effects of it. And then the judge, no matter how sympathetic he can be towards my case, because of a ruling by a certain Lord Bingham, he has got to prosecute me. So that really is a bit silly, isn't it?
I'm going to say that what is interesting here, even though we can't do anything to change the law right now, and, you know, UPA, good luck to you guys. You're doing a great job. If you can get that law changed, that's great work. But coming back to where we've got today, we've got a really interesting thing that Sativex, the GW Pharma drug for MS, made from real cannabis, not synthesized like marijuana, that is going to be going out private market, in other words, from a pharmacist, £570 for 5 grams.
You see, that's it. The last price that I saw, there was a guy that put a news media thing up. He went on a private script and got it, and his pharmacy sold him £573 for a course of the treatment. Yeah. Well, I think on their website, I think they sell it into 375 into the National Health Service. Yeah.
Well,
it works out 5 grams of actual cannabis inside of their medicine. Yeah. Because I want to write to the government as well. I mean, if I go private, because I actually need the cannabis bit of it, and I need to make tincture out of that cannabis bit. And even if rather than be illegal, whether I can get a private prescription for Savatex, and then they'll let me boil off the 90% of alcohol, would that still be legal, or would I be illegal by sort of altering the drug at all? I don't know how I would stand legally. Yeah. Because if that was so, then that would be an opportunity where I could be legal. I mean, I need 10 gram a day, so obviously financially, £1,200 a day for medicine to keep me tickety-boo is going to be really hard to find. But at least I wouldn't be breaking the law. But I can't take the alcohol side of it. 1, because of my religion, and 2, because I had liver damage and I don't drink and I don't want alcohol in my body. That's just a conscious human choice. So, you know, then the only way to extract the cannabis from the alcohol would be to boil it off. So I don't know how I would stand legally with that.
Well,
right. Anyway, let's have a break.
It's an extortionately.
Okay. Hit the brakes. Hit the brakes.
listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.
If you are in the Portland, Oregon area and are an OMMP cardholder, then come down to Nikki's Diggity Dank Market, Portland, Oregon's first and only weekly OMMP market, presented by the Alternative Wellness Center, located at 5241 Southeast 72nd Avenue, 2 blocks south of Foster Boulevard, close to public transportation, held every Sunday 10 a.m. till 7 p.m., connecting quality vendors with patients. Nikki's Diggity Dank Market also has a weekly raffle with products from every vendor. So come down to Nikki's Diggity Dank Market and have fun while connecting with quality vendors and getting great natural medicine. If you are a vendor and want a chance to connect with OMMP patients, you can check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/Alternative Wellness Center or call 971-888-4392. Be sure to register early because space is limited. Nikki's Diggity Dank Market.
In need of a ganja vacation? Blaze away.
Don't criticize it.
Hotbox Jamaica. Chill.
Legalize it, yeah.
Relax. And burn all day while watching the amazing ocean view. Listen to the birds. Bathe in the mineral waters of the Ganja River. Munch on tasty Jamaican Rasta food. Take a weed farm tour and hold a meditation. Book this amazing vacation for $420. Get the Sativa Special. 7 nights in Sativa dorms with ganja meals and airport transfer. Check us out at hotboxjamaica.com. That's hotboxjamaica.com. Hotbox Jamaica, a higher meditation vacation.
Indigrow is your source for affordable induction grow lighting. First discovered in 1891 by Nikola Tesla, Indigrow lights deliver 11 years of electronic sunlight to your plants. Indigrow lamps require less than half the power of traditional HID lamps. Converting to Indigrow lights means you'll cut down on your power bill with less lighting. Indigrow lamps also use 5 times less mercury than traditional fluorescent or HID lamps, making Indigrow not only energy efficient but environmentally friendly as well. No more switching out lamps between vegetative and flowering stages. As nature intended, your lights get a steady dose of UV light. That makes your plants grow healthier and stronger. Indigrow products are manufactured in San Diego, California, and come with a written 10-year warranty. What Tesla knew, then growers know now, is that Indigrow lighting is the cost-effective addition to your victory garden. To learn more or order now, go to inda-grow.com. That's INDA-GRO.com, or call 877-452-2244 to answer any of your questions. These guys really know lights. Indigrow really is your sunlight in a box.
Free? Did you say free? Free hemp? Free hemp? Free hemp video and audio? Free downloads of all the top artists, all the pot artists on planet Earth. Interviews with all the people making the movement, making the hemp movement. It's time for hemp. That's right, world. It's time for hemp. That's right, world. It's time for hemp.
Now wondering what to do, cause the answer's in the colour green, it's shining through and through. Cannabis, cannabis will save the planet with cannabis. Cannabis, cannabis, it's a very useful weed. Cannabis, cannabis will save the planet with cannabis. Cannabis, cannabis is very good indeed. Cannabis, cannabis will save the planet with cannabis. Cannabis, cannabis is very useful.
Right, before I forget, a big shout going out to my mate, my lovely, beautiful Dr. Beth Fisher. She held the show on Friday. We unfortunately couldn't get a reception. We got hit by a the most amazing electrical thunderstorm when we was at the festival. We did have reception, and then this just incredible. I've never seen one like it in the UK. It was more like a tropical storm. And the cloud formations, it just literally looked like aliens were going to drop through the sky in a minute. And Dr. Beth Fisher done a marvellous show. I haven't even had time to listen to it yet. I listened to about, and Gussie was on there, of course. Gussie's always worth listening to, Mr. Grow. And so yeah, thanks, Dr. Beth, and I'll speak to you during the week. That was marvellous. So right, where are we, Pierre?
Well, where I was heading was basically giving my bizarre view of how this government really doesn't seem to have a clue. They seem to have come up with a plan whereby they thought that they'd be able to keep cannabis, medical cannabis, illegal by making absolutely extortionate amounts of money from a company that they put in place and making cannabis-based medicines, because ultimately, one, they become a postcode lottery for the normal people, so the poor tend not to get it, whereas those who've got enough money will be spending £570 on it. And these people will be going, this works, or nah, that doesn't work. Yeah. But if it does work, what they've managed to do is convince the richest, and therefore probably the most influential people in the country, who will also get to know that that is a very expensive way of taking something which can be made by the average person, and will start to be the people who will then start thinking about making it for themselves.
But Pierre, that really goes down some conspiracy theory road. And I hate those, because then what happens with the latest research that's going on, we have endocannabinoid system, which are deficient. That means we need to have we need cannabinoids in us.
Yes, that's right.
Plant. That makes us fully functional, makes our brains work properly. So people that are endocannabinoid deficient are very prone to tumours and cancers and Parkinson's and that great big long list of like diseases and problems that are now epidemic proportions throughout the world. They're going to be prone to all those sort of diseases, and they won't be able to use their brains properly, because apparently if your brain is cannabinoid deficient, it can't fire properly, or some other amazing scientific fact. So that means you're going to make a big division between the population, because there'll be cannabinoid deficient people and people that are full of cannabinoid. And for what you're saying, it'll only be the rich people, because you'll be taking it as not just as a preventative medicine. It'd be like a vitamin. It'd be like, clean drinking water versus dirty drinking water.
Yes.
Yeah?
But what I was saying wasn't
drinking water
going...
And for us, drinking water.
Yeah, what I was saying wasn't... Hang on.
That's not a conspiracy.
No. It's a conspiracy would be if they knew that would be the outcome and planned it. No. I'm not thinking that they're anywhere near as smart as that. What's happened is that their policy is all based around fear. It's this is what the people who went before us did. They're still carrying on the just say no. When Nixon asked for, was it the Fisher report, to be made to link a cannabis with all manner of problems, the report came back showing exactly the opposite, and so he put that in the bin and refused to publish the details.
I know it's pretty well covered on the internet. That's fact. It's not sort of fiction.
No, exactly. And so basically all that's happening today is that the only thing that's different is that the new politicians are even more in bed with the pharmaceuticals, and therefore this drug now, I call it drug because it's a cannabis-based medical drug for Sativex, that they believe it's a great profit spinner, and they are so blinded by their own desire to get profit that
I think you're going down the conspiracy road. The politicians are misinformed. I can't believe any human being would withhold this information or withhold this medicine if they was informed. Sure.
I would. I'm going to say.
But human beings do that to another human being.
Politicians are no different from a lot of people in that they are prone to greed, and otherwise there wouldn't have been an MP scandal. And so all this is exactly the same thing that keeps on going with the revolving door from politics back into industry, where you get a directorship as a congratulations for having passed laws that nobody else would have passed, but really helped the company. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so that's really part of what's going down here. This isn't conspiracy. This is just what's going on every day.
Well,
It's
I mean,
all
you do
part of
get
the
me
lobby
thinking,
system.
because that Professor Nut, having seen him live now, I watched a lot of his videos before, but having seen him live and brought that, you know, and they sacked him, didn't they? Because they wouldn't believe him. And it's sort of like, well, how can you not believe that one of the top researchers in the world in this particular field? They did make me think, like, you know, like, well, maybe, yeah, because he has informed them, hasn't he, that it was this particular government that Nut worked for.
Yes, that was under Gordon
So they
Brown.
must have, obviously, to sack him, they must have read his reports.
Yeah,
And
but it
being
wasn't.
the top scientist, they couldn't have actually scientifically disagreed with him. Because he's
No,
man,
but
isn't he?
But the point was that as far as they were concerned, they were asking for him and his team of 30 scientists working over 7 years at what they'd come up with, because they wanted to show that there was a link between cannabis and psychosis. And in fact, he couldn't come up with anything to corroborate it at all. And when that came out, it was in conversations with the press that he was asked questions about the harm posed by certain things. And the one that really upset people in the home counties was when he said that taking an ecstasy pill was safer than riding a horse.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but then there was that other one that that politician said to him after Professor Nutt and his team had showed him 5 years research by 10 researchers.
Yeah.
The politician turned around and said to him, he said nobody causes schizophrenia, and Professor Nutt said no, it doesn't, and here's the research to prove that it doesn't. And the politician said, yes, but a governor of a prison in England told me that it does, and I'm going to take his opinion.
Well,
So
in
he
other
was taking
words,
the opinion of an unqualified person. He just happened to be a governor of a prison. I mean, where he got any medical data, I don't know. So he was preferring the opinion of a member of an unqualified person, basically. The government preferred that opinion over the scientific evidence that was done by professional research, scientific professionals. Yeah?
Yes, totally.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
he clearly had an agenda. He wanted science to somehow prove their ideological position. That's all.
And so the argument from the governor of a certain prison in England overrides the scientific data of 5 top professionals.
Well,
I wonder if they're saying
convenient.
they're going to make decisions on about the interest rates, or whether maybe they should give him some. I don't know, mate. That sounds a bit daft. It's a bit like asking your local postman, isn't it? You know, like, what's your decision on cannabis? All right, causes schizophrenia, mate. Right, Dr. Nutt, you're all wrong. My postman's right. Hey, listen, you've got to close it down in a minute, right? You got any shout-outs?
Well, obviously, I'm going to say hempworkscharityuk.org. Please visit us. You can catch up with several of these shows on the site. Plenty of links to everything that's important. Our Facebook page has got all the peer-reviewed research, and so please donate.
And on a brighter note from me, I believe our next event is at Gay Pride in Brighton, around about the 7th of August. Yeah! We're down there with Hemp Works Evolution. Yeah! And we're going to have a party in the Works Evolution. Yeah! And then we're off to the vineyard. And then right, love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And we're having some more fun tomorrow with loads more good news. Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Hello? Have we gone?
I haven't.
No, we're still here. And this is tomorrow's show. We just had a time warp. Good evening, Pierre. Where was you over the weekend?
I see, yes. Well, would you believe I went to the inaugural UPA meeting and the Raw Fest?
Really? What was all that about then?
Well, it went very well with my "Have you heard my latest deja vu" joke.
I'm sure that-
Well, have you heard my latest deja vu joke? Okay, it's what most of the listeners will be getting right now.
Is this like Groundhog Day? I used to love that movie. That was so funny, wasn't it? Groundhog Day. You ever see that?
Yeah,
It's
an interesting lesson for life.
Is how do we get out of this? Like, it's such a silly mess that we're all in. How do we get out of it? Yeah?
Well, the interesting thing is that he had to be the best version of himself and make the most of that day that he had. And, you know, that's what we're doing on this radio station.
It seems we've got some more time because we haven't been cut off yet. Obviously, Casper's been taken away by one of them security companies called Squat Teams, and
you have 2 minutes. You have like
for crimes against the nation.
You have 2 minutes.
Huh? You have 2 minutes. What should we do with our 2 minutes? Right, I'll tell you what I was going to talk about, Pierre. That other thing David Nutt, Professor Nutt put up was that graph, that circle about how this operates, about when you tell people about the medical cannabis, they say, well, where's the research? Then we have to go, we do the research because it's in Schedule 1. And being in Schedule 1, it means it's got no medical properties. So research facilities like Professor Nutt's one can't call down cannabis. They can't get any cannabis legally to research. Yet they could call us, I think he said, I could order like 10 ton of heroin and they'll send it to me. I can order 10 ton of cocaine and they'll send it to me. He said, I can order any other drug but cannabis. And he said, if I can't order it legally, I can't research it. So that's the first bit, because people, when they come up against it, they say, where's the research? Then you have to tell them, well, you can't research it because you can't get a license to research it. And then their retort is, well, if you can't research it, it can't have any medical value, so therefore it can't be any good. And he said this circle keeps going round and round and round. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yes,
It really
in fact, he said that there were...
conversation all the time, no?
Yeah, I mean, he said that there were only 4 hospitals that were allowed to hold cannabis.
That's it, 4 hospitals in the UK, and they're not doing research.
Well, the point is that then you have to get funding, and it's easy to get funding if you can show cannabis in a bad light, but no one's willing to give you funding.
Exactly, to show it in a bad light. Every time they've researched it to show it in a bad light, it's come back positive. Jesus, I mean, seriously, if you was trying to ban this plant, you must be off having a job and a half at the moment, because every time you try and find another reason to ban it, it goes, no, I can't do the total opposite.
Well, this is what I was saying earlier. Sativet is the daftest idea for them ever, because if you know, when they see that it works, they'll be absolutely fully understanding cannabis works.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I think that GW Pharmaceuticals are being very good at is making the advertising and publicity that actually cannabis is medicine.
Yes, it's beautiful.
GW. Big up the advertising.
I mean, who in the government thought this one up? I mean, seriously, that was for personal greed or whatever, because it certainly wasn't far-sighted.
Yes, Minister. Only the English would get that. Yes, Minister. You mean to say that the government has spent a load of money promoting pot because they thought they were going to sell pot at a very high price, and all they've ended up doing is telling people pot is good in one breath, and on the other hand telling them that it's not good. Yes, Minister. Yes, Prime Minister. And how much did you spend on it? Oh, 180 million, Minister. Oh, well, never mind. I've heard the Americans are growing some good stuff. I think I'll move to Colorado and get myself a job as a public speaker on the evils of marijuana.
Oh, dear.
Tell
you honestly couldn't write this stuff.
I'm having too much fun. See you later, poops.
All right. Bye.
Love you all.
Lots of love to everyone.